Stand up right now if you are physically able. Go ahead. I'll wait here patiently while you rise to your feet. Once you're standing, pause for a moment and truly tune in to how your body and mind feel in this very instant. Are you aware of any creeping stiffness settling into your joints or lower back? Maybe a deep, heavy fatigue pressing down on you? Or perhaps that all too familiar mental fog quietly dimming your thoughts? Here's a crucial truth that far too many seniors tend to overlook or downplay. The subtle cognitive sluggishness you're experiencing right now, those annoying occasional memory lapses, trouble retrieving the right word, or general mental dullness, may not actually be an unavoidable or truly normal consequence of aging, even though that's the belief many people have sadly come to accept over time. Let me reveal the surprising, frequently disregarded reality. These ongoing sleep difficulties are silently and relentlessly eroding the long-term health and sharpness of your brain. The harm happens quietly, no intense physical pain, no obvious alarms, and typically without you consciously noticing the slow damage accumulating deep inside. What if I told you plainly that the single most significant hidden culprit quietly sabotaging brain health in so many older adults isn't too much sugar, isn't solely the buildup of lifelong chronic stress, and isn't mainly your genes, but rather something far more common, everyday, and completely within your control to change: your sleep habits, routines, and daily patterns? I'm doctor, and for over 20 years I've devoted my professional life and clinical research to exploring the deep, powerful links between sleep and sustained brain health, particularly as we age. In my practice, the same distressing pattern shows up with heartbreaking regularity. Seniors come to me anxious, often truly scared, convinced that their worsening memory slips, increasing irritability or quick temper, or episodes of confusion are just inevitable signs of growing older that everyone must eventually endure. Yet, in a surprisingly high number of these situations, when we look at the complete picture with care, the real root cause turns out to be something much more correctable, treatable, and manageable: the quality of their sleep, or more accurately, how consistently they have been deprived of dependable, high-quality, deeply restorative sleep, night after night. A great deal of the sleep advice people have followed for years, and much of what still circulates in conventional recommendations, is unfortunately incomplete. It overlooks several of the most essential and impactful details. True quality sleep isn't mainly or solely about how many hours you spend lying in bed. In truth, sleep represents the single most critical, non-negotiable daily window during which your brain performs vital behind-the-scenes upkeep and renewal. It actively flushes out harmful metabolic waste products and toxic proteins, like the well-known beta-amyloid associated with cognitive decline, that accumulate while you're awake. It solidly consolidates and reinforces the new memories and abilities you gained that day. It carries out careful repairs on tired or injured neural connections, and it recalibrates your emotional centers to restore balance, calm, and emotional strength for the coming day. When sleep gets repeatedly disrupted, fragmented, shallow, or deprived of real depth, even when the total time in bed seems sufficient, the brain is nearly always the first organ to show the resulting harm, deterioration, and impaired performance. From a strong clinical and neuroscientific standpoint, the suprachiasmatic nucleus, SCN, the master circadian clock in your brain, situated in the hypothalamus, relies heavily on steady, dependable timing signals from your daily habits and surroundings to remain properly aligned and function at its best. When your bedtime fluctuates too much or becomes inconsistent, even by as little as an hour or two night to night, the quantity and quality of deep NREM sleep, vital for strong long-term memory consolidation and synaptic pruning, clearly drops, weakens, and gets disturbed. A thorough long-term study by researchers at the University of Colorado Boulder followed 300 adults over 8 years. The results showed that people with irregular or widely varying sleep schedules suffered a remarkable 30% faster decline, specifically in episodic memory, the type used for recalling personal events and experiences, and this quicker decline happened even when their average sleep length remained about the same. Another widespread habit among many seniors is lying awake in bed for prolonged stretches, anywhere from 20 minutes to an hour or more, night after night, while telling themselves, "It's not a big issue," or It only happens now and then. But this behavior is especially harmful, sneaky, and self-reinforcing. Your brain is an incredibly efficient, lifelong learning machine that constantly builds powerful associations between locations, actions, and mental states. When you repeatedly remain awake, restless, or worried in bed over weeks and months, your brain slowly starts connecting your bed with wakefulness, alertness, rumination, concern, or light stress, instead of the peaceful, profound, restorative sleep it should represent. Over time, this learned negative link leads to lighter sleep structure overall, far more frequent brief arousals and fragmentation all night long, and a major reduction in slow-wave, deep restorative sleep. Consider a straightforward daily analogy. It's similar to trying to park your car repeatedly, but leaving the engine idling in the middle of a loud, congested city intersection instead of guiding it into a calm, protected garage. Your bed ought to be a tranquil, secure, predictable haven, a true garage, where your mind and body can fully unwind and recharge. But by staying awake and mentally engaged in it night after night, you unintentionally turn that peaceful place into something chaotic, like heavy rush hour traffic buzzing with nonstop stimulation. Research conducted at Johns Hopkins University, tracking 250 adults aged 65 and older over a long period, showed that those who routinely stayed awake in bed for extended times experienced on average 42% more disruptive awakenings during the night and noticeably elevated morning anxiety and tension. The gradual but genuine buildup of consequences includes steadily worsening daytime brain fog, ongoing irritability or short temper, reduced emotional rebound, and even the emergence or worsening of anxiety, even in people who previously experienced little of it. Imagine your brain as a big absorbent sponge throughout the day. It needs enough wakefulness pressure from long active hours to be fully squeezed out, cleaned, and refreshed during sleep. When you cut short that daytime buildup by going to bed much too early, the nighttime processes of cleansing, repair, and memory strengthening can't happen as thoroughly or effectively. In-depth polysomnography studies from the University of Michigan found that seniors with very early bedtimes, often 8 p.m. or sooner, had REM sleep cycles roughly 20% shorter on average, even when they stayed in bed for 9 to 10 hours trying to rest. This mismatch in timing often looks like, and gets mistaken for, the early signs of cognitive decline or mild cognitive impairment. The hopeful part is that in the majority of cases this is largely reversible by making consistent, well-chosen adjustments to bedtime. Moreover, controlled studies from Stanford University discovered that even moderate exposure to ambient light at night in adults 65 and older could suppress melatonin production by up to 50%. This reduction led to lighter, less efficient sleep stages, poorer memory formation and retention the next day, and small but detectable drops in executive function. Too many seniors underestimate just how damaging this one subtle environmental factor can become over the long haul, mostly because the brain gives no loud, painful warnings when melatonin is consistently lowered. The cognitive and emotional effects build slowly and quietly over months and years, making it hard to spot the link to poor sleep habits in the moment. Take Harold, for example, a 68-year-old gentleman who progressively moved his bedtime earlier and earlier, finally landing on 7 p.m., convinced that more horizontal time would bring better rest, quicker recovery, and higher daytime energy. Instead, the reverse happened. He woke up completely alert at 3 a.m. every night, unable to fall back asleep, lying there staring at the ceiling in frustration for hours. Later, neuropsychological testing showed mild but definite declines in short-term recall and working memory. He had also depended on low-dose sleep medication every night for years, though its benefits were fading. Working together, we set a firm, non-negotiable morning wake-up time, no matter how little he'd slept, drastically cut nighttime light exposure, especially from screens and hallway lights, and slowly pushed bedtime later by 15 minutes every few nights. Harold's deep sleep percentage rose by an impressive 35% per his sleep tracker. In only 8 weeks of sticking to the plan, his word recall and list learning scores jumped from 1520 to 1920. The thick morning brain fog that had plagued him for years vanished completely, and his daytime mood became calm, patient, and upbeat. The rest protocol effectively restored his brain's natural repair and regulatory mechanisms. The heart of the rest protocol is rhythm, establishing a fixed wake-up time every single day. Make a firm commitment to getting up and out of bed at exactly the same time each morning, regardless of how badly or briefly you slept the previous night. Next comes stimulus control, a proven behavioral sleep technique. If you're lying awake in bed for longer than 20-30 minutes at any time during the night, and sleep isn't coming despite your attempts to relax, get up quietly, keep lighting very low, using a small red or amber light for safety if needed, and do something truly boring and non-engaging, like reading dull pages from an uninteresting book, listening to calm non-story sounds, soft nature recordings, or gentle instrumental music, or sitting quietly in a different room. The aim is to retrain your brain to firmly link your bed and bedroom with rest, relaxation, drowsiness, and deep sleep, rather than wakefulness, overthinking, or anxiety. Research from Johns Hopkins showed this method cuts average nighttime awakenings by about 42% in seniors within 6 weeks of steady practice. Then there's timing, the third pillar. Target a bedtime window generally between 9:30 p.m. and 10:30 p.m. for most seniors. Adjust slightly for your natural chronotype or daily schedule, but this range has strong supporting evidence. If your current bedtime is much earlier, like 7:30 or 8 p.m., shift it later gradually, by 15-minute steps every few nights, until you reach better biological harmony. Finally, make a conscious effort to reduce nighttime light exposure and talk carefully with your doctor about any ongoing sleep medications. After sunset, use only dim, warm, amber, or red lighting at home, and steer clear of blue light screens, phones, tablets, TVs, and so on for at least 1 hour before bed, ideally 90 minutes to 2 hours. Safeguarding your natural melatonin is crucial for deeper, more restorative sleep, and for supporting overnight brain cleanup, memory strengthening, synaptic balance, and emotional reset. Even small, steady improvements in light control and screen habits often bring surprisingly large and lasting gains in daily brain performance and general well-being. To be fully clear and responsible, the REST protocol offers safe, evidence-supported lifestyle and behavioral strategies to enhance natural sleep quality and support brain health. It is not a medical cure, treatment, reversal, or preventive measure for diagnosed conditions like dementia, Alzheimer's disease, vascular cognitive impairment, Lewy body disease, frontotemporal dementia, or other serious progressive neurological disorders. Never stop, change, or adjust any prescribed medications, including sleep aids, antidepressants, blood pressure drugs, cognitive enhancers, etc., without full discussion and approval from your physician or neurologist. If you have untreated obstructive sleep apnea, serious heart issues, such as congestive heart failure, recent heart attack or arrhythmias, severe untreated depression, bipolar disorder, restless leg syndrome, chronic pain that interrupts sleep, or other significant medical or psychiatric conditions, speak with your doctor, a sleep specialist, or relevant expert before making major shifts to your sleep routine. The smartest approach is gradual. Start with a fixed wake-up time, slowly adjust bedtime, then add stimulus control and light management once the base feels solid. Gradual shifts let your body and brain adapt comfortably and sustainably, far better than abrupt changes. These steps are low risk, generally safe for most older adults when done mindfully, and backed by strong peer-reviewed evidence showing real improvements in sleep quality, cognition, and brain health with aging. My personal challenge to you today, pick just one part of the REST protocol, maybe committing to a fixed wake-up time, even on weekends, slowly moving bedtime toward 9:30, 10:30 p.m., cutting evening light exposure, or applying stimulus control when you're awake too long in bed, and stick to it faithfully for the next 30 days, no exceptions. Each day, write a short note about how your mental clarity, mood steadiness, and memory dependability feel compared to before. After 30 days, return here and share honestly in the comments what went well, what was difficult, and any shifts, large or small, in brain function, energy, mood, or sharpness. Your real experiences can motivate, uplift, and foster hope and connection for others facing the same issues, while strengthening your own resolve. Your brain has loyally carried you through decades of life's highs and lows, joys, difficulties, successes, disappointments, quiet triumphs, everything. It has been your companion, problem solver, memory guardian, and emotional foundation. It deserves much more than to be brushed off as just old age, when so much decline may actually come from correctable sleep problems rather than irreversible aging. The empowering reality is that you can take practical, science-based actions right now to gain sharper memory, better focus, more even emotions, and renewed mental vitality, all through careful, steady improvements to your sleep habits. The overlooked truth persists. Poor, inconsistent, low-quality sleep, not simply sugar, not chronic stress alone, not just genetics, is quietly speeding up brain function decline every day, often without pain or clear signals. Over more than 20 years in senior brain health and sleep research and practice, I've watched this preventable pattern repeat in hundreds of patients. Memory issues, irritability, confusion, word-finding difficulties, daytime tiredness, and reduced resilience often stem from chronic sleep disruptions and suboptimal sleep patterns, not merely from aging itself. Sleep functions as active nightly brain maintenance, clearing toxins, storing memories, repairing connections, resetting emotions. When quality slips, the brain suffers first and most deeply. The truth so many still overlook, undervalue, or miss entirely is this: poor, disrupted, inconsistent, or low-quality sleep habits, not excessive sugar over the years, not chronic stress by itself, not solely genetic factors, are quietly and steadily damaging and accelerating brain function decline every single day, often without pain, without dramatic warnings, and without the link being obvious right away. After more than 20 years focused on senior brain health and sleep science in research and clinical work, I've seen this same avoidable pattern appear countless times in hundreds of patients. Memory lapses, increased irritability or emotional reactivity, growing confusion or word-finding problems, ongoing daytime fatigue, and diminished mental resilience, very often traced back to chronic sleep disruptions and less than ideal sleep structure, rather than unavoidable aging alone. Sleep is much more than passive rest. It's the vital, active nightly period when your brain handles essential housekeeping, clearing accumulated toxic metabolic waste, consolidating and reinforcing new memories for long-term storage, making microscopic repairs to damaged or weakened neural pathways, and resetting your emotional equilibrium and limbic system for better stability and flexibility going forward. When sleep quality repeatedly drops, fragments, or grows shallower, your brain inevitably takes the consequences first and most seriously, often long before other organs show obvious signs. Thank you sincerely, from my heart, for taking the time to watch, listen, or read all the way through. It means a great deal that you invested this time in learning about something so essential to your long-term well-being. Feel completely free and encouraged to share your current age in the comments. It builds community understanding. Or just write the word foggy if that captures how your thinking or energy has felt lately. Or type "I'm in" if you're ready and motivated to start at least one small practical rest change tonight or tomorrow. Improving and protecting your sleep is one of the kindest, most powerful, accessible, and meaningful things you can do for your mind's long-term health, sharpness, and vitality. I truly value you being here with me today, and I look forward to hearing from you soon, whether with a brain-restored note, your 30-day update, or a brief comment on how this resonated with you. Take wonderful care of yourself and your sleep. Until next time. One last gentle reminder as we wrap up. The rest protocol changes are intentionally approachable, sustainable, and forgiving. You don't have to overhaul your entire life all at once. Trying to do everything simultaneously often leads to feeling overwhelmed and quick burnout. That's exactly why the protocol emphasizes starting with just one pillar, rhythm as the strongest and most foundational, because a consistent wake-up time creates a reliable anchor for everything else to build around. Once that anchor is firm, the other adjustments, bedtime timing, stimulus control, light management, become much easier and more effective. Many people beginning this path say the first week or two feels a bit odd, maybe waking at the new fixed time feeling groggy after short sleep, or fighting the urge to nap, a common impulse best gently resisted when possible to preserve nighttime sleep drive. These short-lived discomforts are normal signs that your internal clock and sleep pressure systems are readjusting. They almost always fade within 7-14 days as consistency builds and your circadian rhythm strengthens. If you face ongoing difficulties like staying extremely sleepy during the day after weeks of trying, or noticing loud snoring, gasping as a partner reports, frequent leg movements waking you, or other indicators of a possible underlying sleep disorder, please don't wait to seek professional help. A sleep study, polysomnography, or visit with a board-certified sleep medicine specialist can pinpoint treatable issues like sleep apnea, periodic limb movement disorder, or others that behavioral changes alone may not fully resolve. Addressing those core problems first often makes the rest protocol work better and faster. For most cases, where built-up poor sleep habits, rather than a major undiagnosed medical sleep disorder, are the main issue. The power of this method lies in its simplicity and empowerment. No costly gadgets, unusual supplements, or complicated routines are needed. What matters is consistency, patience, and treating sleep with the same importance you give to nutrition, exercise, and relationships. Sleep is not a luxury or optional add-on. It's the foundation that lets every other part of life function at its peak. As you move forward with your chosen single change over the next 30 days, approach it with curiosity rather than perfectionism. Notice what happens when you stick to your wake-up time even after a rough night. Observe how energy, mood, and mental clarity shift, even subtly, when you cut evening screens and bright lights. See if getting out of bed after 20-30 minutes awake shortens the time it takes to fall back asleep when you return. These small personal insights are powerful. They turn abstract science into real, lived proof that your efforts are making a difference. When the 30 days are up, I sincerely hope you'll come back and share. It can be brief. Something simple like, age 72, began with fixed 7 a.m. wake up. Fog lifting a bit each week, I'm in. Or, foggy fit me exactly. After 30 days, no phone past 9 p.m., mornings feel clearer. Or, hard at first, wanted to stay in bed at 4 a.m., but stimulus control helped. Memory sharper already. Your voice counts. Every honest contribution helps someone else reading now, feeling discouraged and questioning if change is possible at their age. It shows they're not alone, that modest, consistent steps can bring real progress, and that it's never too late to give your brain the nightly support it has quietly needed. In closing, here's my final thought. Aging itself is not the enemy of a sharp, vibrant mind. Neglecting the brain's most vital nightly recovery process is. By choosing, even in one small way, to prioritize better sleep structure, you're investing in lasting mental clarity, emotional balance, and resilience that enrich every area of life. You've already taken the hardest step by reading to the end and opening up to the idea that just getting older may not be the full story. Now the next small step is yours. Pick your one rest element tonight. Commit to starting tomorrow morning. Track it gently for 30 days, then return and tell us how it went. Your clearer-minded future self is waiting on the other side of that consistency. Thank you again for your time, your attention, and your willingness to consider a fresh approach to brain health. Sleep well, live sharply, and I look forward to hearing from you. Until next time, take good care.